Hello, my name is Sarah Douglas and welcome to my MA Photography oral presentation for Positions and Practice. Today I will be discussing my current practice, the influence behind my work and research project. During my travel photography, I explored different areas and wanted to document landscape, culture and history. This is when my practice began. Photographing different cities and islands allowed me to capture the true spirit of the different countries. I mainly focused on cityscapes, seascapes and architecture. When photographing my images, I take the following into account. Lighting, detail, perspective, composition, and surroundings. I shoot with a DSLR and use an AF 18-140mm as a walk-around lens. Looking at my practice, I find that I am drawn to architecture. When taking images, I tend to shoot close up, as I want to create a sense of all the buildings joining at the same point, with the outcome being more surreal. In order to achieve this, I use a Sigma 10.20mm lens. The perspective distortion creates an optical illusion, which is one I want to achieve. When capturing images, I apply the rule of perspective projection. When taking a photograph, you are capturing a three-dimensional space and converting it to 2 dimensions. Perspective is fundamental to the projection of space on a flat surface. We apply this same rule in photography, the method known as central projection, also called vanishing point. Projection preserving the natural perception to which the human eye is accustomed to. Looking at my current practice, I have noticed changes in my style of imagery and would like to take a more abstract approach. The mirror analogy is a method that I have adapted within my practice. For example, we recently worked on a collaboration project which I found to be most inspiring. The images shown on this slide were contributed to the presentation. Our title called Multiple Illusions and the concept being Reflection at Home. It was the first time I experimented with the mirror analogy. I have since taken on the method of the mirror analogy and is one I would like to consider going forward in my practice. Looking at this image, however, critically and objectively, I feel that there is room for improvement and progression. It is missing depth and substance. In order to improve this, I would like to take a more abstract approach, show the detail and form close up, and working monochrome to create a more dramatic outcome. For instance, take this image by Helen Binet of the Maxi in Rome. Is one that I would interpret as an abstract artistic form. The contrast of shadow and light expresses the true form of the building, an area that I would like to explore. Taking into account my current practice, my journey now arrives at what has influenced and inspired me. Architecture, photography, abstract contemporary design, and surrealism are all key factors. I am a great admirer of M.C. Escher, who was a graphic artist and created mathematical challenging work. I am fascinated by his concepts of division of plane, optical illusion that create a sense of surrealism, and his abstract forms. The lithograph of relativity depicts a world in which the normal laws of gravity do not apply. It was Escher who inspired me to create this image of the staircase. I adapted his method to develop this idea of the optical illusion. René Magritte's surrealism has also inspired me. Magritte settled on impassive illustrative technique that clearly depicted the content of his pictures. Repetition was very important and evident in his work. The quality in his illustrations was stunning in simplicity while setting off unprovoking thoughts. Zaha Hadid, the architect, is not one for being conventional in her design. This is why I am so inspired and drawn to her work. As demonstrated here with the Galaxy Soho and Al Wakra Stadium, her concept of multiple curves, geometric lines, and intricate detail highlight interconnecting spaces in a dynamic sculptural form and creating a sense of surrealism. Adam Mork began his career in architecture and became an architectural photographer in 2002. He therefore has a clear understanding of the relationship between architecture and photography. With his background, he pays particular attention to detail and considers composition, lighting, and spatial relations, which are key elements for architectural photography. The work of John Shear and Abraham Kravitz are an inspiration. The images convey an element of obscurity and optical illusion. The clever use of light emphasizes the materials and reflection. Looking at the relationship between architecture and abstract photography, I would like to progress and improve by showing the form and appeal of the building, working with light, shadow, texture, and composition to improve the outcome. On a surface, this will emphasize a more dramatic and surreal outcome. I want to accentuate the materials of the building and focus on taking photos of the true detail. Buildings contain lots of intricate details that can be lost in one shot or frame. Exploring the details up close will reveal the history of the construction of the building. Focus on buildings that are much more prominent in geometry and abstract forms. When I combine my photographic practice and influences, I am drawn to abstract photography in architecture. Abstract photography offers a playful reimagination of what urban structures represent. I would like to combine my use of travel in search of unique and interesting shots to develop a portfolio of abstract architectural images. In order to explore this, I will research architects and buildings that truly express a form of design. Zaha Hadid and Santiago Calatrava are definitely two I will consider. Also, looking at architects and photography collaborations will give me an understanding of their preliminary thought process to develop my ideas. Thank you for listening.